Oi, oi, lads.
Alright, the clock is about to strike 4.5, therefore, it's spoilies time. Gloomshrieker. 3 mana, enchantment creature, cat beast. Menace. 3 mana, 2/1 menace. When it enters the battlefield, return permanent from graveyard to hand. If it would die, exile it instead. Isn't that kind of good? Not really, I guess. No. It's not that good. It's a bit expensive, huh? It's 2/1 menace. You can only hit permanents. I mean, it is enchantment creature, so it could be like if you're playing some Abzan enchantment deck, it's a way to get your like Hallowed Hauntings back if they get removed, but it's an incredibly slow card in what would almost certainly already be a slow deck. It's not really value that a deck like that needs, huh? It's to not die. If you're going to play it in like some weird Golgari deck or Sultai or something, you've got to have better options. I'm giving this one a thumbs down, chat. You trying to tell me that this fucker is not a Chimera? It's a cat beast, mate. A very bad Eternal Witness. Kind of, yeah. It's kind of cheaper than the old ones. Yes, but the old ones, you get to use them twice though, which is somewhat relevant. March of Reckless Joy. X red, instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may exile any number of red cards from your hand. This spell costs 2 less for each red card exiled this way. Exile X cards from the top of your library. You may play up to 2 of them until your next turn. So this is instant speed, light up the stage. But you have to discard a card too, or exile a card. Because if you're paying 3, this thing is bad, huh? So you actually do need to exile a card from your hand. So that you can cast it for 1. You can just pay 3. You can, yes, but then your card sucks. So you can't really. Bannable? This thing could be good. It probably, like, this thing should be good, I'll say. You want to be aiming to cast it for 1, I guess, huh? Cast it for 1 red, exile a card, get your instant speed light up, and if you have to cast it for 3, then you sag, but it's fine. How often is this better than Reckless Impulse?
It really is.
Better if you're holding up removal, better if you're playing like day-night shit, I guess. Although it's not that good with day-night stuff because you want to actually cast 2 spells. But I mean, Reckless Impulse is insanely good though, huh? So it's quite hard to be better than Impulse. But I do think this is good. It's got to be good, right? Who decided that should be a rare? Isn't this a fine card for rare? Why are you guys saying bulk rare? This thing is like good. I mean, like, does mono red play this in historic like as well on top of the light up? Do you play like light up and this? I mean, your aim with your deck has to be to cast it for just 1 red. It's good with Frenzy. It is good with Frenzy. It is very good with Frenzy. Can't exile lands. How can you not? That it says you may play a land. It says it right there. Or you can't exile lands from your hand. I mean, that's whatever, dude. This is shit. You have only 1 turn to play the cards. What are you talking about, dude? It's exactly the same as Light Up the Stage, Impulse. Those cards are all like insane. No, it's not. I mean, this has to be a bad translation. If this is the correct translation, then there's no point in the card even existing. There's no way in hell that it's different from Light Up and Reckless Impulse and the 100 other cards of the same kind. Of course it's a wrong translation. It has to be. Like, if it's not a wrong translation, then the card just doesn't exist, right? This is terrible. Guys, you're triggering me. How can you possibly suggest this is terrible? It's insane. If I open this in a pack, I'd be bummed. But that says nothing about the card quality and everything about the type of decks you like to play. What the fuck are you talking about? A card is not bad just because you don't want it. Those two things are completely unrelated. March of Otherworldly Light. X white, instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may exile any number of white cards from your hand. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each way. Exile artifact, creature, or enchantment with mana value X or less. What? Okay. You cast it for 1. You exile a white card from your hand. That means you exile a creature, artifact, or enchantment with mana value 2 or less, 2 for 1, huh? I mean, that can be fine. And this card is obviously good. But are you going to play it in standard? It's a bit spooky in like something like standard though. It's a good historic plus card for sure. But is it a good standard card? Maybe. Better in older formats than standard? Well, I mean, it's a house in older formats, huh? But it seems like it should be good in standard too. Like in historic plus formats, it's obviously good, yes. Playing this over Prismatic Ending? What about playing this and Prismatic Ending? How about that for a plan? I don't think you're going to cut your Prismatic Ending to play this, but I can see some decks playing both. This thing's, it's clearly very good to anyone that's not dumb. We will definitely see it in historic. We will probably see it in modern. We will maybe see it in standard. That's my evaluation. Geothermal Kami. 3G creature spirit. When it enters the battlefield, you may return an enchantment you control to its owner's hand. If you do, you gain 3 life. Skip. Moon Snare Prototype. 1 mana artifact. Tap this and tap an untapped artifact or creature you control. Add colorless mana. Colorless mana? Ew. This thing is like, seems insane though. 1 mana artifact that makes mana. Surely that is just like mega broken? No? This is a Jasper Sentinel that basically can't be removed. But you only get colorless mana though, which is that is a big hit, but colorless mana is still pretty good. The channel effect is bonkers. What? No, it's not. What are you talking about? Dude, who gives a shit about the channel part? How is it bonkers, man? What are you on about? It's a 5 mana Aether Gust, dude. It's not bonkers at all. It's like, it's going to be useful sometimes, on the odd occasion. It's not bonkers. You wouldn't put that in your deck. Can't be countered. So who fucking cares about counter spells, guys? Nobody plays counter spells. Wake up, man. It's 2022. Counter spells either cost 2 mana or they don't get played. And there ain't many 2 mana ones. But Drown? Yeah. How much mana does Drown cost, fucker? I wonder. So it's 1 black. That's 1. That's 1 blue. 1, 2? 2, I think, right? This card is a big horse, yeah. Big horse. I mean, I'm going to use this card a lot, guys, so prepare to become a Moonsnare prototype stream. This is my favourite card so far. The combo and the evolution is complete. I like combo decks. I've never disliked combo decks. I don't understand why I have some reputation of being like a person who doesn't like playing combo. I play combo all the time, dude. Like, I play Citadel decks all the time. I play engine decks all the time. I play like a lot of creature combo decks, like the life gain one. I play a lot of combo decks. I'm not that interested in a deck like what's it called? Like Pact, you know? Tainted Pact deck. I mean, that's whatever. But I could take that or leave it. But I like Citadel decks. I like, you know, I'm a combo fan. Sokenzan Smelter. So yeah, that blue artifact, that's my favourite card so far, for sure. I can't wait to play that. 2 mana 2/2, Gobbo. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 1 and sack an artifact. If you do, create a 3/1 red construct artifact creature token with haste. Kinda meh. Not terrible, but no way this makes it into any deck. This card is perfect for when you're building your deck and you add 100 cards, and then you cut 40 and this is one of your cuts every time. It's always there and it always gets cut. That's the Smelter's role, is just to make the deck building process a little bit longer. Bronze Plate Boar. 3 mana Equipment Boar. 3 mana 3/2 Trample. Or you can re-equip for 5 for +3/+2 in Trample. 5. Re-equip for 5 mana. Get out of here. Swift Hoverbike. 2 mana Vehicle, Flash Flyer. When it enters the battlefield, tap a creature. That's pretty good. Merfolk Trickster Vehicle? But you can't crew it though, can you? Oh, no, you can. You should be able to. You can crew it, yeah, so it's fine. Draft Chaff? I don't know, man. This seems decent. In some sort of deck, right? Some sort of tempo vehicles shit. Which is probably not a deck, but if it is this the first flash vehicle? I would like for it to do something when it attacks too. I mean, it's a bit like kind of scuffed, but if you're playing some sort of blue, red, blue, white tempo vehicle synergy pile, which is exceedingly unlikely that you're playing that, you might consider the bike. Leech Gauntlet. 1B, Equipment Leech. 2 mana, 2/2 Lifelinker. Wow. Okay. This thing is absolute limited bomb. Story Seeker that you can re-equip later? This thing's fucked. Okay, this is... I'll pick one this over many rares. Story Seeker is absolutely in a shambles now. Okay, thing's crazy. Tatsunari Toad Rider. We've seen this card. Kappa Kek Rek. Kappa Kek Rek. What a name, man. Whoever made this card, clearly too much time on Twitch. Kappa Keker. Turtle Ninja as well. I mean, this is just a full meme card, right? It's a ninja turtle. It's Kappa Kek W Rek. What is going on here? Who the hell made this card? 2 mana 1/3. Ninjutsu 2. Enters with Death Touch counter. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a Death Touch counter. When you do, exile artifact or enchantment that a player controls. Meh. It's good, actually. Is it? I mean, you've already got Liberator, you've already got Commando, you've already got Vandal. This is worse than all of those. Therefore, you don't need it. How is it better than those? You're insane. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Assassin's Color Ink. 2BB instant. If you control an artifact, the spell costs 1 less. If you control an enchantment, the spell costs 1 less. Destroy creature or planeswalker. Okay. Awful. Or is it? Maybe it's not awful, because black actually can't can black remove planeswalkers in standard? Not really, right? You have to play that 3 mana card. You've got to pay at least 3, right? Soul Shatter, yeah. But the thing is, if you're playing an enchantment and artifact heavy deck, you're not going to be able to do that in only mono black. So you're playing another colour anyway, so your removal's probably better anyway. I don't see how you would ever use this. The deck that this would need to be in to be used just will never exist. Mono black artifacts and enchantments. Brushstroke, but even the brushstroke decks in Alchemy they're not mono black though. There's no reason to be playing mono black anymore. They can be? What do you mean they can be? That just makes, if you're gonna say that, that makes all conversation moot, right? Like all we care about is the best version of each deck, right? The best version of an alchemy deck with artifacts and enchantments is not mono black. If you want to play mono black, you can do that, that's fine, but we would literally be speaking forever on every single card if we want to discuss that. I think this card sucks. Next. Futurist Agent, 3 white creature, human ninja. As long as Futurist Agent is tapped, it is a human citizen with basic power and toughness 1/1 and it can't be blocked. Get out of here. Malicious Malfunction, 1 BB sorcery. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. If a creature would die this turn, exile it instead. This is worse Cry of the Carnarium. Very, very slightly, I guess. Very slightly. Literally just Cry. Almost. Cry also... Cry does something else? I can't remember. Yeah, Cry puts creatures that are already dead this turn into the graveyard, into exile too, right? Which, I mean, that is rarely relevant. It's only really relevant against Cat Oven or something like that, but it's relevant. It is pretty much always Cry, yeah. Did 3 mana board wipes, man. I sleep. They're so fucking good. It's a bit of a tilter. I think compared to the average Magic the Gathering gamer, I rate 4 mana full board wipes a lot lower than the average gamer would. And the 3 mana ones probably a lot higher. I think they're like insanely underplayed. The 3 mana ones, they're game winning, dude. Path of Peril? Yeah, something like that. I mean, this card is clearly good. Will it be cast against you? Yep. Will you cast it at some point? Probably yep. Strictly worst Cry. There are some situations where you want to exile less cards. Like if you use your graveyard as a resource. So not strictly better, but close to it. Joey, Joey, Joey. You fell for the age-old trap. Using the word strictly. They'll never learn, man. They'll never learn that if you ever use the word strictly, there will be a posse of homies ready to jump upon you and be like, actually, no. And I'm one of those, man. I try and not be a nerd as much as possible, but I will be a nerd if you use the word strictly or always or something when it comes to Magic, because it tilts me, because it is strictly not true. Hotshot Mechanic. White,
I
2/1.
strictly enjoy this streamer.
Artifact creature. Cruise vehicles as though its power were 2 greater. Another 1 mana artifact creature is not gonna hurt anybody. Is this like relevant at all? So it can accrue 3 or 4 by itself, but do you even play vehicles with crew 3 or 4? Not really. Turn 1 Fox, turn 2 Innkeeper, turn 3 Chariot. I mean, you still got your cats, right, and stuff to crew it anyway. That's what I mean. I believe the most relevant text on this card is the word artifact, more than anything. This just doesn't matter, dude. This might as well not even be there, really. Do we have anything... So artifact creature is not that relevant in standard right now. Have we seen any cards from Kamigawa yet that want artifact creatures? We've seen a lot of artifact creatures. I don't think we've not seen too many cards that have wanted artifact creatures though. Not yet. We might get another... What's the 3 mana +2/+2 to all artifacts? Give me one of those, baby. Give me one of those, so not only can you play the deck in standard, but then you might also be able to play the deck in historic if you've got like 8 copies. Tempered Steel, yeah, give me more Tempered Steels, man. Hit me. I think Tempered Steel could be a deck in historic if they got like a 5th to 8th copy of it. No way they'll make another? Why not? It's not that good. It's just a fucking buff card, man. They're scared of creating Affinity 2.0. Yeah, but I mean, Affinity decks are pretty cool though, aren't they? It wouldn't be the worst place for Magic to be if there was Affinity decks going around. They're just pretty cool, man. Don't know what to tell you. Affinity decks are a lot more fun than Tempered Steel decks. That's for sure. I mean, maybe they're the same thing, but most of the time they're not. Rebel Outlaw, 1 red creature human samurai, 1/3 +2/+0 for each modified creature you control. This plus aspirant, 2 mana 3/3. Ooh. Lizard Blades. 1 and a red artifact creature, equipment lizard, double strike. Equipped creature has double strike. Reconfigure 2. It's a 1/1. 2 mana 1/1 double strike. And then in the future you can equip 2 for double strike. Is that good? Equip 2 ain't bad. We don't mind a little equip 2 bomb. Hold on 1 second, guys. I've got an actual Dies to Doomblade for you. Actually, Dies to Spikefield Hazard. Like, you lose the weapon, right? Okay, I skip. Completely unplayable card. Sorry, chat. Sorry for raising your hopes. Absolutely unplayable. Dies to Cinderclasm? Yeah, but at least you get to keep the weapon if it's Cinderclasm. Runaway Trash Bot. Artifact Creature Construct. Trample. Gets +1/+0 for each artifact and or enchantment card in your graveyard. Artifact and or enchantment in graveyard. 4 toughness, 3 mana Trample Boy. Honestly, could be good. I'm not playing it in my historic Fiddlebender deck, but I'm considering it for my standard Fiddlebender deck. My standard Fiddlebender deck can make this a 4/4 plus easily. For 3. Well, actually for 1 white, Pog. Your standard Fiddlebender deck, this is your Scuffed Nettlcyst. Then they go blank you and you Sag? No. They go blank me and I laugh because they've spent their turn killing, exiling my graveyard instead of killing my Fiddlebender, and I activate again. This could be decent if it's a 4/4 or above most of the time. It's only going to be a 4/4 or above most of the time if you're playing something like Fiddlebender. It's not good enough for the historic one. It might be good enough for some a standard historic Fiddlebender deck. Don't sleep on the trash bot. Twin Shot Sniper. Artifact creature, 4 mana 2/3 reach. When it enters the battlefield, deal 2 to any target. Or channel, deal 2 to any target. I mean, a man's saying this thing is also decent, is it not? Seems too expensive. I mean, both sides are inefficient, but I don't think you're casting the creature like almost ever with this. You're using the channel part, right, and putting it into your graveyard and then recurring it somehow. You're not casting this just as a creature, like synergy with the previous card, yeah. I think this thing is decent. If you can find a way to like discard this for 2 and then get it from your graveyard back into play for less than 4 mana. I guess that's what you're trying to do, huh? If there's a way to do that, you're chilling. Or even, you don't even need to get it back into play. Maybe you're using cards that need a lot of artifacts in the graveyard. Honestly, I think this thing's pretty good. As long as your main intention with the card is not to cast it as a creature on turn 4. I can see a way that some deck makes this thing decent. Asari Captain. 5 mana, 4/3 haste. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+0 for each samurai or warrior you control. Invoke Calamity. 1 red. You may cast up to 2 instant and or sorcery spells with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard and or hand without paying their mana costs. If those spells would be put into your graveyard, exile them instead. Exile Invoke Calamity. Okay, so this thing is just insane, right? 4 red cost though. 4 red cost. Alright, chat. Alright. Wizards have offered me a ticket, and I will be accepting that ticket. We're going to be bringing some standard burn, where this is your top end. And what are you doing? You're just casting two of your 3-drops again. Yes, please. It's like Demilich though, isn't it good, but the cost is a pain? You can maybe play this in Historic in a 2-color deck. Just. But for standard it has to be mono red, right? But I don't know, why would you play it in Historic, right? You've got Mizzix Mastery in Historic. But for standard, mono red. So right now, I've tried to make burn in standard. I mean, I always try to play burn, but burn has decent 3 mana instant and sorceries, so that's good. But what's our 4 mana card that we're playing in burn? So that we can actually go all the way to 5? That's the main problem. What's my 4 mana card? Because it needs to be a 4 mana card that you also wouldn't mind casting off of this, right? And you can maybe combine that 4-drop with a 2 mana instant or sorcery as well to get full value. Yeah, but Impulse is good, yeah, but Expressive Iteration, well, I'm not even sure Impulse would be good in a burn deck with Calamity anymore, because you can't really risk hitting the Calamity off your Impulse, can you? And Expressive Iteration, definitely not, because in Standard you will not be able to play this in a 2-colour deck. You'd have nowhere close to the correct mana. This card is definitely not good enough for Historic, so there's no way even thinking about that, so it has to be Standard or maybe Alchemy. But I don't see how it's good enough for Alchemy either. But it does seem pretty sick for Standard though, if you can get your deck right.
Ecuador! Ecuador!